That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class. Drama from day one. This is the league we want to watch. Only football can make you feel like this.
I think it's all over. It is now.
Good evening. We got a lot to talk about this week. This is Brazzo back with Tom and Steven, and we have a guest tonight, Josh Adams. Josh is a big Barcelona fan. I've seen him play. You know, it's rough, but
the trash talk starts now.
Yeah, it starts now.
Our topics tonight is going to be Europa League results, Champions League results, latest in the transfer saga, and then obviously the returning spots for trash talk, and then a whole lot of love segments. To get it started, Champions League results. You know, I went 1 for 4. There was a lot of rough predictions for me. What was the biggest upset you guys have witnessed based on your predictions?
I knew that Barcelona, sorry, Josh, I knew they'd get trashed by Bayern Munich. But it's Lyon. Lyon is the shock because I thought City would be, I mean, as soon as Bayern Munich won, I was texting everyone being like, well, Bayern Munich, Man City semi-final, this is going to be mad. So the fact that Lyon very comfortably beat Man City.
I told you guys.
That's crazy. Yeah,
I told you guys.
City
City in the Champions League is just like history is kind of set in stone or something. Like they can't make it past the quarterfinals. They just, for some reason, it's so funny to me. Pep was brought there to win them Champions League because they've already got Premier League and what else, but they cannot win Champions League even though Pep is there. It's like hilarious to me. Like no matter how much money you spend on your defenders, on your midfield, no matter how many hundreds of millions of dollars you spend, you still cannot win Champions League. Eat it. Like it makes you so happy. It makes you so happy.
Why do you guys think that is? I mean, you know, we talked last week and we said Pep has probably arguably the greatest midfielder in today's game with Kevin De Bruyne, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that there's that mental block that Man City just cannot win a Champions League? Because I thought this was their year. I thought this was the year for them to win it, and I was wrong grossly.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you guys think that is?
He's playing a right back at left back, and not only that, Cancelo is not a very good player.
Yeah.
He's not a Man City player. He'd do really well at another club. To be honest, I think he'd do well at Spurs or so, like one of the kind of top 6, if you will, teams, but not one of the top teams in England. He just doesn't fit in. He lost the ball more times than I can count. And then Laporte had a shocking game.
Yeah.
He was at fault for, if not all 3, but at least 2 out of 3 of the goals. So, and not only that, Raheem Sterling.
Wasteful.
That miss. Oh, man.
That was rough. And, you know, Jesus was in front of goal 3 or 4 times, smashed it over the bar. I mean, if I was Kevin De Bruyne, I'd be like, how the hell do I get a move to Bayern Munich?
So I just want to say, you remember when I told you guys that, you know, Pep would probably go for a striker? That's what I was saying. Like they're wasteful up front, but I think, and I don't know how like accurate this is, but I think just the things that Pep values certain things so he values like playing the ball from back to front, possessing the ball and creating chances based off of possessing the ball. And I think he values that over the actual players having skills in their actual position. He's been playing Fernandinho as a center back. Fernandinho is a defensive midfielder, holding midfielder, but he's gonna be playing him as center back because Fernandinho can defend. I'm not gonna try and like diss him there. He can defend, but he can play the ball. He can actually play passes from the back. So he values that in defender more than actually having an actual center back there. And it's the same thing with Ederson. So I'm going to say right now, Ederson is not that great of a goalkeeper. He's not even top 5. I don't think I'd put him top 10, honestly. But Ederson can play dimes from the back, and he values that over his goalkeeping ability. Like the first goal, what was Ederson doing all the way up there? There was a defender on him. Ederson like just got attracted to it like a fly, like a moth to light. There was no reason for Ederson to be all the way up there. And I would say Ederson cost that first goal because he's all the way off his line. I mean, great finish by Cornet because that was ridiculous whip on that ball. But if Ederson's not off his line, he doesn't score. It's simple as that. So I think because of what Pep values of just playing the ball, he values that over the players actually being that good at their positions. And then in a game like this, it came back to bite him with Ederson there, and then playing from the back with Laporte giving the ball away. So, and that, I mean, I don't really blame Laporte. It's just if you continue to play that kind of game, eventually it will bite you because if you're playing from the back. If you're pressing like Lyon was, which was ridiculous, it will end up biting you at some point in time, and it did.
But I mean, so they've spent so much money on defense. I mean, John Stone's on the bench, Otamendi's on the bench, and you're playing Fernandinho, who is a midfielder, as a back. I mean, John Stone, obviously you signed these. Like, Pep brought John Stones to City, and now he's not playing him at all.
Yeah.
John Stones didn't really get worse, did he?
No, I don't think he did. It's the same thing. He can't play the ball as well as he wants him to. It was like what happened to Joe Hart. Joe Hart isn't the most amazing goalkeeper. I think he was good enough to stay there, but he can't play the ball at the back like Ederson can. That's why Pep was get him out of here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no goalkeeper in the world better than Ederson with distribution. That man is crazy. He can assist from his goal line and knock it into their penalty area. But I agree. I've always thought that. I've never thought John Stones was that bad. I know he's not like world class, but he's worth a shot above Fernandinho, I would have thought.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got, I know this might annoy Steve, but he's got Ben Mendy on the bench at left back, and he still plays a right back at left back on his weak side.
So at a certain point, it's like, Pep went to Munich and he never won a Champions League. Pep went to City and he hasn't won a Champions League. Pep last won a Champions League with arguably the greatest club team that was ever Barcelona. I still think Pep is probably one of the greatest tacticians in today's football. I think he's fantastic. And I know the City has been ridden with injuries. They missed Aguero gross. Aguero is probably one of these top 2 strikers in the world, in my opinion, right behind Robert Lewandowski. So at a certain point, though, how much money can you spend before you're just like, all right, it's Pep?
Well, yeah. I text you guys from the kickoff and was like, why is he playing 3 at the back?
Exactly.
Why has he changed tactics that clearly work and they're going to miss David Silva? Phil Foden is not a David Silva replacement. The whole game, they needed David Silva just in there to clean up that kind of attacking midfield role. David Silva, very unselfish player, very underrated. I know that he gets a lot of praise, but he is kind of underrated still with the work he does for that team. And I really question Pep. Why would you change a system that works so well? Like against a Real Madrid team that on paper, Real Madrid and Lyon are just different leagues. Why change the tactics? Why do that? Because he didn't even do it in the second half. He waited till the 70th minute, bring David Silva on when the game's all but lost. Raheem Sterling misses that. How he missed that.
I have never not got to laugh at that.
I can't believe it. How do you miss that?
I'm over here thinking, how do you keep your job when you miss like that? Obviously he was a top goal scorer in the Premier League, but like, wow, you're still employed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy.
I always thought that Raheem Sterling's probably worst quality is his finishing. And I thought that under Pep he would improve. And he's been scoring goals. But I think he's been scoring goals because he has such a great support squad around him that enable him to score goals like that. I think if he was at any other club, he'd be a 7-8 goals a season kind of player. I understand why Kane never scored it to him.
So do I. They're real FIFA stats. If you look at the stats, like 72% possession, 18 shots, 7 on target, 11 corners. You look at that and you think Lyon only had 28 possessions, 7 shots, 3 corners. And
it's like the Real Madrid game. Not even half their shots were on target.
Everything good about them came through Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, in the
And-
second half, when they went back to their old formation, that's when they really started. They were dominating, and then just got caught out. At the same time, though, you can't. What are you gonna do with a corner? Like, even if you have 11 corners, you can have 25 corners. But when you have Fernandinho in there, you're not gonna score from it. You have John Stones, who is tall, who is strong. You have Otamendi, who can get on the ball, and you're just not doing that. And I think Pep got it wrong. I think Pep overestimated his opponents. Honestly,
I agree.
that came back and bit him. He gave
Big
him too
time.
much respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And I'm really glad they lost. Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it. Like, I can't stand Manchester City, so good riddance, in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah.
but this is the first time in 10 years, in a decade, that no English team or no Spanish team made quarterfinals. I mean, are they the
or Italian.
An Italian, yeah, an Italian.
Are they the Farmers team now? Farmers League now? Is it safe to say?
I still say yes.
Yeah.
I will say in Man City's defense, the Lyon players went down like bitches
Oh man.
as soon as they got touched. And I have a real problem with that. And, I've got some things to say about a few La Liga players later on, but Cornet, or whatever his name is, Maxwell Cornet, like, very, very good finish for the first goal. But, mate, for a big guy like that, he's going down as soon as someone flicks him.
Yeah, it's super
It's like-
annoying.
It's so frustrating to watch. And I know it was annoying the Man City players. You could see it. So that's one thing I'll say in defense. That, and you guys know how much I admire Kevin De Bruyne, but the rest of the City team he is carrying that team at the moment.
Goodness.
They're missing Aguero. He's
They
been
are.
injured, and I thought he'd be back by now. And I think if they had him with all the chances that were created, I think they could have won. But it's they got dominated, and I think it's Pep that's to blame, honestly, and not the players. I mean, I know a question was posed: can Kevin De Bruyne still be considered a world-class talent without ever managing to win a Champions League? And I absolutely think he could, because it takes a team to win a game. But I mean, I don't know. I feel for him. I think he should come back to Chelsea. That's what I think.
I think with De Bruyne, like,
playmaker.
I think with De Bruyne, his thing is just like, yeah, he's definitely, I would say he's still best midfielder out there. When people say greatest or great players, then that's when they start thinking of championships and medals and leagues that they've won. So I don't think you can put him in League of Greats until he wins Champions League. But you can't knock on his talent. You can't knock on how great of a player he is. But if you want to start talking about how great he is, then that's when people will start asking, okay, where's his Champions League medal? That's my thought on it. We could probably argue about that for a while.
Yeah, I don't think that's Kevin De Bruyne. I think that's all. I agree with Brato. I think it's Pep's problem. Like, It doesn't matter how good the player is if he hasn't got the players to support him. And he put 7 or 8 passes on a plate for their attack. On a plate, 1v1, and every single one missed. He had to go and score the goal himself.
Yeah, he did.
Like, he steps up, and that's what I like about him. And he was the only one on the whole City team trying to get his players amped. So
Well, it kind of reminded me of Messi in Barcelona, right?
Oh.
The only person in Barcelona that actually did anything was Messi. No one else really did anything at all. And while we're on the topic, 8-2 trashing.
oh
It's
man,
the most, and like, even Spurs, it took Bayern 2 legs to score 7 on Spurs. And
Could you imagine if there was a second leg for this? How bad it would be?
Oh man, there would have to be trouble with the bus. A bus would have to break down to something like, oh, we can't make it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to hear what you think about it, Josh, since you're a Barca fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all pretty much. I talked to a lot of fellow Kool-Aids, and we're pretty pissed off, man. It's just really more of a culmination of everything that's happened over the last probably 2-3 years, just really coming to a head like right away. We started the oldest average age was 29 and 321 days, so nearly 30 years old on average. And when you look at it just tactically, Messi's 33. He's not going to press. He saves all his energy for the attack. Suarez, he's 33. He's not going to press. So they can just walk it up, literally just walk it right up with nothing. Then PK's 33, Busquets is 31, Alba's 31, Rakitic is trash, and he doesn't even need to play ever again. And I think that what happened is that there's so much of this internal struggles of the players versus the coach. And I don't know how much you guys know about the NFL and all that kind of stuff, but some of that happened with the Colts, actually. The Indianapolis Colts I know for a fact that Trent Richardson was scum of the earth. The general manager made him play and start. And I'm thinking some of that's going on with Barcelona as well, that, Suarez is only starting because he's Messi's friend. I think, Rakitic has some of that as well. Vidal's basically been complaining and crying and moaning that he's not starting, and he's 33. So we have all these guys that are so slow, and Bayern just exposed all of it with that high press. And Ter Stegen kind of picked a terrible day to have his worst game as a Barcelona player.
I agree. I love Ter Stegen as well.
Yeah, I mean, he had some bad passes, and I think for him, there was a little bit of that mental block with Neuer because, he wants to be the number one, and everyone in Germany is all about Neuer and all those kind of things. And I guess, I got a whole segment about the trash talk, which I'll get to, but the big thing, I'll probably repeat it, is that Barcelona spent over $140 million just on Coutinho. And Bayern starting 11 cost less than that.
Oh my goodness,
that is insane.
Yeah,
and he scored 2 goals against Barcelona too, and
an assist. So check this out, and this is going to be part of the trash talk too. But basically, Bartomeu had the option to bring Coutinho back because the loan spells ended in June because of the regular season prior to the pandemic. He said, "No, you keep him, and then he scores 2 goals and assists on you." What?
That makes no sense.
So I think when it comes to transfer business, you can't compete with Bayern. I don't know how they're able to do what they do and get them.
Neither do I.
Because I hope we're not gonna hear things down the road about illegalities of it or them being unethical. But they're bullies and they buy the best talent in Germany and they can basically do that. That being said, though,
you're right.
I don't understand. Lenglet is probably one of the worst defensive performances I've seen, and I'm a Chelsea fan, and we struggle defensively. I would start any of the Chelsea defenders over Lenglet. He was abysmal.
Yeah, I thought
absolutely awful.
I thought that
Jordi Alba doesn't even play defense. His greatest quality is going forward.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And these are kind of things amongst my friends and colleagues that I talk to about it, that it's so obvious. Lenglet is a good center back, but he's slow. His pace is just not there. He's a controlling type of center back. PK is 33, so he's slow. So anything on the counter, we are done for. Now with Bayern, the main thing was just they couldn't handle that high press. And kind of with what you're saying, Brat, so I'm kind of inclined to agree with you because they got Lewandowski for free. They got, I think Thiago was their most expensive guy, and he was only like $22.5 million.
And they're selling him for 40 right now.
Yeah, and then Leroy Sané, at the beginning of the year, he was rumored to go for about 100, and they got him for 45.
So I thought Barcelona was going to beat Bayern, and I thought they were going to beat Bayern because, one, nobody possesses the ball as well as Barcelona. Even though they don't do it as well as they used to, I thought the possession, they'd still be able to move the ball around. You really can't do that when you have Vidal as your primary attacking midfielder. He's good, but he's bullish. He's not the kind of guy that's all about, technique,
Yeah, definitely. He's like that. He's kind of like a bully enforcer in the midfield, which Barcelona kind of needed because from a physicality standpoint, we're weak. And you look at we changed formations. We've been doing a 4-3-3 for the majority of the year, and then we switched to a 4-4-2 for some reason. And you look at kind of another thing with Barcelona was going through their Barca B to promotion to get to the second division, which could help with development and so on and so forth. And they chose not to have Ricky Puig or Ansu Fati play those because they wanted to use them in Champions League. Then they don't play any of it.
Yeah, it makes
So all these.
The crazy part is, Bayern's going to play that high line. You know that they're going to press, and
They need speed.
Exactly. And you have Dembele on the bench. You have Griezmann on the bench. Why not?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm baffled by the decision to do that. You can't. You should have more youth in your midfield to deal with Bayern's aggression, and you basically didn't. I think Vidal, not to take anything from him, I think he was the best midfielder on Barcelona side.
Not Young, not Frankie.
Oh, De Jong was way better than him, man.
Yeah, De Jong, man.
I say Frankie was the best. I think Arturo Vidal did really well considering, 8.
And so something else that's kind of a common denominator in Barcelona is we have a lot of guys playing out of their positions. Now, when you go to a big club and you have all these expectations, you want to be in the best position to succeed. So last year, Felipe Coutinho really struggled because we were playing him as a left wing. He's a midfielder. So the first year we got him in the January transfer window, he did very well. He was controlling, he was scoring goals, his golazos, bending it from the left to the right. He was doing his thing. And then we were trying to play him on that left wing, and he struggled. And this year, Griezmann, he's not a left wing. And what's happening is we're buying guys that are occupying the space that Messi occupies, and it's just not going to work.
What do you think Messi can leave? That's like after this 8-2 loss, I feel like he has something to prove, and I could definitely see him. I definitely think he will stay, but part of me wishes he would leave. I think he could still. I think.
Where would he go? Where would he go though?
That's the thing. I hope he doesn't go to City, right?
Oh, please no.
I hope he doesn't go to City because I definitely could see him occupying that right side and going to the left with,
But I got a question for Josh though. You kind of brought this up though. So Barcelona's had, I don't know if you want to say flops or Barcelona's ruined players. So you have Griezmann. Griezmann came in for like what a ton of money. You have Ousmane Dembele, who came in from Dortmund. You have Coutinho, who came in. Then also Rakitic just joined, a year ago, something like that. And then you have all these players who are just not performing. Like, do you think what's your thought on that? Do you think it's like bad transfer strategy, coach, or just players? Like, what do you think?
So kind of like a lot of things, it's there's always the answer is kind of somewhere in the middle there. So I think that we are buying guys that are we're kind of trying to out Real Madrid, like getting all these Galacticos signings and big names, sell jerseys, things like that. Now, Dembele, I think, was a good investment. I actually heard that the year prior, we could have got him for $15 million. Instead, we got him for $150.
Crazy.
So just small things like that. And like with Rakitic is actually on the Tremble winning team in 2014, 2015. He's the one actually essentially took Xavi's job, which is very, it's kudos to Rakitic. But he's been kind of on the decline the last few years. And I think we're just getting guys that are not fitting what we do. We're getting big names, and then for every good piece of business we do, like looking at Frankie de Jong, like I think he can definitely be like a cornerstone midfielder for us. But then we'll do, Prince Boateng, who we paid $20 million for and didn't do anything. We get Martin Braithwaite, who scores one goal and then isn't eligible for Champions League. And just mistake after mistake that kind of cloud the good things that this board have done. But to answer your question, we're not getting guys that fit what we do. We're just getting guys that can essentially sell tickets and are bigger names.
But how can you though? I mean, you're how many coaches have you guys had in the past 4 years? You change coaches more often than Chelsea does, you know.
Now the biggest news today was that they had a meeting and Kike Setien is going to be sacked.
He has been sacked.
I believe.
Yeah.
He has been. They've announced
that's official. Yeah, that's official. And then they're going to most likely announce Ronald Koeman on Wednesday, they're saying.
Why? He can manage Everton.
Yeah.
I still think Pochettino is the way to go. And the first thing Pochettino probably would do is be like, we're not building a team around Messi because you've probably got 2 years left or you'll leave.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you, man, when you said I wouldn't be surprised if Messi pulls the strings. Like, why are they playing Suarez? Even though he got the goal, the dude is slow. He is like a liability, if anything.
Big time.
I think if you go against Messi as a coach, that's probably just suicide right there, managerial suicide.
It is. But again, I don't want to take anything away from probably the best performance I've seen this year from that Bayern Munich team. I thought from the minute one, they were just scary. And Messi had a couple of moments when you thought, oh, that on another day that would have scored. He had that really nice little run where he cut in on his left and feel like you've seen it a million times where he slots that in the left-hand corner.
Just wasn't quite strong enough, yeah.
Yeah, he was really well guarded by Alphonso Davies, and I love Alphonso Davies. Alphonso Davies also made Semedo look like a 9-year-old boy.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
So, you guys want to hear something kind of funny about Alphonso Davies with Barcelona? Yeah. I want to say a year or two ago, kind of right before
I know this.
really invested in him. Barcelona had some scouts that were like, hey, you should check this guy out. And the president was like, oh, he's Canadian? No thanks.
What a dummy.
And yeah.
Racist.
And it's also kind of like Pochettino, where his only hindrance of not already on a plane right now is that he is an Espanol guy. And it's like after a while, some of these issues that we have with clubs, we kind of have to let him go, you know, like PSG kind of that whole Neymar situation a few years ago. I'm under the impression they went for him because we went for Marco Verratti the year before. And some of these petty things are, you know, going and people just don't want to do business with us. So that's why the prices are skyrocketing. But Davies was absolute class, and Semedo just needs a timeout.
Yeah, I think they actually highlighted really well where Barcelona need to make big changes. I think Thomas Muller just ran the show in that center attacking midfield role. I think Serge Gnabry didn't have the lightning games we're used to seeing him play, yet he still scored. And with one of the best assists I've seen this season from Goretzka, the little chip behind his back, you remember that? What an assist. Like, absolute class. Lewandowski only scored 1 goal, but he was always there. I just think they were great. And it's scary to think that they're adding Leroy Sané to that.
Oh my goodness.
That's scary.
And they have Coleman coming back too from injury. So I mean, he came on and played really well. Yeah, you have Perisic. Perisic, Coleman, Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry.
Alphonso Davies behind them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that's what's amazing about the Munich team is that they all have their positions, but they all rotate. I don't know if you noticed, like the wingers would go from left to right. You'd have Alaba all the way where Davies should be, and Davies would be all the way in the left wing position. And then even in the middle, Muller would find himself in the middle. They just roam around, but they're not roaming around randomly. They're still keeping their shape. But when they're pressing, I mean, people go from right to left, but there's never a position that's not filled. People be out of position, but they're always somebody in the right position. So that way, even if they hold over, they're still in shape. I don't know how you managed to do that, how you managed to orchestrate that, but it's amazing to see.
They got guys that can play multiple positions too. You look at Alaba, who can play left back, right back, and right now he's been killing it with center back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their defense is arguably not the strongest. Like, again, they have some issues there with Boateng's not the quickest, so maybe target that area. I thought Alba started the game very, very well. I thought he was Barcelona's main threat down that left-hand side. And the goal came from Jordi Alba, and as did the second goal. Both of them came from Alba's runs. In behind, it was Joshua Kimmich, who was playing too far up, and Boateng just not being quick enough to cover him. So you could see Barcelona having some kind of magic moments, but as you guys just said, Bayern Munich just got back into position so fast, and then you've got to beat Manuel Neuer, which is I love Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I think he's world class, top 3 keepers in the world. It's just sad to see him have such a poor game because you know he can do so much better than that. And some of the passes he was putting out was
oh my goodness,
childish.
You can make a compilation of those passes. It'll be a horror show, just like straight to Bayern Munich. I don't know what was going on with that.
And like Semedo being bullied off the ball twice in the corner while he's trying to shepherd the ball out. Learn from the first. It's like they're not learning their lesson. And it was just every single goal. It was to the point where my phone just kept going off. And I was like, oh, Munich have probably scored another goal while I'm working. It's just, and the bad thing is, it was the same when they played Spurs. It was the same when they played Chelsea. They're being dominant on the.
Don't put us in the same bracket.
You still lost 7-2, mate. Same as Spurs or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's true. Don't put us in the same bracket.
I mean, this year they were just getting warmed up. You know, like if they had played somebody else before you probably would have lost by that much. You know.
But that's the thing. So I got 2 points. First, it's great to see Thomas Mueller actually playing and enjoying football again. I love watching him play. And for someone that seems like he can trip over his own 2 feet, he is so good at getting into the position, and probably the best player I have seen that's able to get into those positions in order to score. He's always at the right place at the right time. Secondly, how can Bayern keep this team together? They have so much talent on the bench. You know, if I was, how can you keep it? If I was coming, I don't know if I'd be okay playing a second fiddle.
Well, Thiago's leaving. He's going to Liverpool, isn't he? So that's one thing. But I agree though. It's like,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I agree though. It's like, how do you keep that many people happy? Maybe it's all the beer that they drink after they win the Bundesliga. You know,
management, mate. That's when like Flick is. You may not have heard his name much, but they're all happy and they all want to participate in the team. That sign of good management and good coaching is just that they're happy to, I'll go in, boss, in like the 80th minute and I'll run until I can't run anymore. I think they outclassed Barcelona in every way. And I think it woke Barcelona up. And I think it's what Barcelona needed to be like, let's get rid of these old guys, because you've got Ansu Fati is one of the most promising youth players in the world, as is Ricky Pugh, or however you say his name. They're fantastic young players. And when you've got Dembele on the bench and you don't bring him on, when you don't bring Griezmann on until the 70th minute, Griezmann really worked his arse off when he came on. He was all over the field. So I think it's probably going to awaken the beast again, and kind of, it's almost like they've been sterile the last couple of seasons. When Neymar left, it went downhill. And I think now is going to be, that's the wake-up call Barcelona needed, I think. And I think it's going to be interesting to see the amount of players they put on sale the very next day. Speaks volumes to what the club think. And
no, you're absolutely right, man. They've so much of it. Like I do actually commend PK, because right after the game, when it's the freshest, he really came out and as a leader was like, we messed up. He did throw the board under the bus, which is where they belong, and was like, hey, we need to make some changes. And it's really just come to a head. And I think the main thing, because if you look at it, right after the break, when we're first coming back from the Corona issues, and we have 11 games, you win 11, all 11, you're going to win the league guaranteed type thing. And they come out strong because they're older, but they just can't hold it. And that's when these are happening. In the last few years, if you look at all these issues, you look at Roma, you look at Anfield, you look at now Bayern, it's late in the year and these guys don't have the legs anymore. And these guys are good enough. 2 years ago we beat Real Madrid by 14 points. Last year, I believe we beat them by 19 in the league. That's an absolute ass kicking, but this year you just drop it so much because I think mentally some of those guys are over it. I think they're not hungry anymore because, some of these guys have just won literally everything that there is to win in the game. And it's natural to kind of come down after that. But we're just in a tough position because, these guys don't want to leave because no other team can afford these wages.
Yeah.
We're overpaying guys dramatically, and they don't want to leave. Barcelona is a great city to live. It's warm weather. You're at the top of a top league. They don't want to leave, and we're put in a really tough spot.
So here's my crazy take. I don't think it'll actually happen, but in case it does happen, like I say, you heard it here first.
Nice.
I think Messi retires because he doesn't want to go play anywhere else, but he's tired of dealing with the board and just dealing with Barcelona declining. And I think it takes Barcelona a little bit of time to bounce back, which, it's not that hard I don't think it's that hard to bounce back in La Liga because there's not as many people that competing for top outside of Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. I think it takes Barcelona a little bit of time to bounce back because just like you said, they fielded the oldest team ever. Their bench is absolutely no experience on there pretty much. And then you're bringing in Ronald Koeman, who, I haven't really watched. Well, I guess he coached at Everton, but Barcelona's identity is in tiki-taka, like possession and short passes and working the ball in. Out of the teams that I've watched, Koeman has coached, that's never been his style. So I don't know how he'll be able to fit in there and coach that. And that's Barcelona's identity. There's no one's going to introduce a different system. If he tries to, he should be fired because anything outside of that is not Barcelona. It's somebody else. You have to respect that. So you can't play a different style of soccer there. So I don't know how he fits in if he tries to. Well, he's going to have to try and continue that. If not, that's just managerial suicide if he doesn't try to continue that. So I don't think that he does that well. And I think Messi just gets fed up and says, you know what? I play for Argentina. My teammates suck. I play for Barcelona, and I put the team on my back. I'm tired of soccer. I'm going to retire. That's my take.
I don't think he's going to retire. At least definitely not before Ronaldo retires.
I agree with that. I was about to say, I don't think he's going to go anywhere until Ronaldo bows down a bit. And because otherwise it's the Messi-Ronaldo debate just opens up a whole new chapter.
I was going to say, I could see him joining an English team. I could see him joining Chelsea or Spurs. I'm sorry, Chelsea.
What?
Chelsea or City.
Okay, Spurs.
Yeah,
nah.
we'll never pay his wages.
Think about Spurs. I also see him actually going to Juventus.
With Ronaldo?
I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
I could see that happening for sure. Just because I think that Pirlo is there, and there's certain admiration for Pirlo, for Messi, and I definitely could see them linking up in Serie A. However, I do want to make one last point about Bayern, and that is that high line, I want to say, is going to kill them. They're going to come against a team, and they're just going to be outpaced because they keep playing old defenders. Like, it's crazy. They have Hernandez on the bench and they have Sula on the bench, and both are 24. But they keep playing Boateng, who is not the fastest. And I think if PSG and them meet in the finals,
Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, exactly my thought. Like, if I was Thomas Tuchel or whatever his name is, I would just play that ball over the top. And
they're going to play like five up front too.
let Mbappe run after it. Like, there's no one going to catch.
See, I would switch Alphonso Davies to be on Mbappe because Alphonso Davies is arguably quicker than Mbappe. They're right up there in the same speed. Mbappe is rapid. So is Alphonso Davies, and he's an amazing defender. If they don't switch the wings, there's no way Joshua Kimmich is handling Mbappe, especially with Neymar in behind. And Neymar gets a lot of stick, but what he can do is pick the right pass at the right time, and it unleashes Mbappe. Neymar complements Mbappe so well. And I agree with you, man. Their high line will hurt them if they play a team like PSG that is just going to come for them. And I don't see PSG beating Bayern Munich by any means, but I see them getting a couple of goals.
So I think that
to beat them. I thought the City had the best chance to beat them, and
Me too.
because of the speed and fullback running. But they don't get that chance.
Well, yeah, I mean, speaking of PSG as well, like they just about scraped it and against Atalanta.
that's what I'm most mad about because I predicted Atalanta to beat PSG. And I watched the first half, then I had to go back to work. I was like, you know what? It's 1-0 right now. Atalanta will probably score again. I'm safe. My prediction's good. And all of a sudden I see 2 goals in like 2 minutes. Like, dude, what happened? You had them on the ropes, man. Like, how did you why? You could have just hold on for like 3 more minutes.
Kylian Mbappe happened, man. As soon as they brought Mbappe on, I don't know if you guys saw the game, Brato and Josh.
Yeah.
Mbappe changed that game the minute he walked on the field. It was like a completely different PSG team. Every single player was like, it was almost like they stood up again and were like, well, we can win this. Now we've got our star man. And Neymar missed some open nets. But I've written down here, he made the easy things look impossibly hard, and he made the hard things look easy. He'll miss an open 1v1 situation with the keeper, but then he'll go and dribble through their whole midfield, whole defense, nutmeg 3 guys, and get a shot on goal. And he makes it look easy. It's so confusing to watch because his finishing was appalling, but he'll do the hard things, and it's beautiful to watch. I love Brazilian football. I love that samba style of football where he clearly just wants to have a little bit of fun, and he'll get a nutmeg in here and there, and it's great to watch. But work on your finishing, man. Like,
it was crazy. So all right. I rate Neymar in the same. So I'm not saying as how good he is, type of player. Clarify, but I put Neymar in the same category as Ronaldinho.
Oh, me too.
So, but the thing is that Neymar has gotten a lot of stick because a lot of the diving, especially around the World Cup, and then social media took that off, and he deserved it. A lot of diving,
He did.
and also his finishing isn't anywhere near Ronaldinho's. But watching Ronaldinho, you watch him, was like, yo, I'm so happy to watch football. This is amazing. This is so much fun. This is great. I wish I could do that. I know I'll never be able to do that if I had 1,000 years to practice. And Neymar does the same. It's disappointing he's doing it in France. Then also he just doesn't finish as well. I mean, Ronaldinho's levels above without that. But I put Neymar in that same just category. Just a lot of people don't like Neymar as much because of the diving, and he doesn't do it with a smile on his face. He does it like a cocky joke. Ronaldinho would do the same thing that he's doing to people right now, but he just smile like, "Oh yeah, we love you, man." Like,
yeah,
what he did the same thing.
And Ronaldinho didn't train. Very famously, didn't train. And he'll still turn up and be the best player. Now, I agree with you. I think they're in the same category because of that. The Brazilian flair they offer is unbelievable. I love watching Neymar play. Hate watching him dive.
Yeah.
And I hate when he's having to go at the ref every 5 minutes. But especially if he targets a player. If a player tackles him or sweeps his legs, you can see him look around at the player and you think, I'm going to make you look so bad in a second. And he does it every time. He'll flick it over their head and then he's off. But I felt really sorry for Atalanta because I thought they had a great game. It's just that they just could not keep up with it when Mbappe came on. And it was like a second wind in the whole team as soon as that substitution was made.
I think you're confusing. You're mispronouncing. It's called Choupo-Moting. All right.
Oh, that little Stoke City.
He's learned how to do it on a cold, rainy day. He can do it anywhere now.
Exactly.
Newcastle to just scoring a goal for PSG to put him in his semis. Like, that's crazy. I would not have get after missing. You guys remember that openly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
He came back. He came back strong, and he made up for it. I thought that the game was really good. I do feel bad for Atalanta. I thought that they played soccer the way it was kind of meant to be played. They stuck with it. They came up with a great plan. I think PSG just got significantly better talent, and it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
So it's a shame about it. But my favorite game of the whole thing was Leipzig versus Atletico.
What?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, it was so good to see. Dude, I cannot stand Atletico Madrid, man. Dude,
I-
get those divers, get those embellishers out
No.
of Champions League, dude.
Yeah.
So you cannot watch a game of football when somebody just gets touched and just starts rolling around in pain. Dude, I salute that ref because the ref, he was falling for it initially. Then the second half, they were throwing themselves around. He's like, what?
Dude,
What do you want? And it's
I-
like, he started telling him to get up. I was like, yes, thank you, ref. You've actually
He
seen
gave
through
out
the
some yellow
lies.
cards for diving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Then it's
I
like, and then they stopped all the BS.
I literally
Oh.
have written down how much I'll get to my trash talk. My trash talk is Atletico Madrid. by the
Yeah,
way.
mine is too.
But I thought it was a terrible game of football. I thought it was really boring to
You thought
watch.
the
Yeah, 'cause I hate watching Atletico Madrid play. I think
Yeah.
they're so overrated. I think Simeone so overrated. I just hate the way they play. I hate everything about the way they play. I hate their centre back Jimenez. Can't stand him. He gets flicked, he'll fall over. But as soon as he thinks one of their players has been fouled, he's in the ref's face, like literally threatening the ref.
The coach too. Like anytime when the Madrid players would get Atletico players would get tackled, he'd be out there holding his hand out like yellow card. Like, dude, like you're not playing football to win. It's like you're not playing the game to win. You're playing to
You're
just
playing not to lose. Yeah.
Exactly. And what kind of game is that? That's just
that is very rich coming from a United fan, for the record, this season.
we go around asking for yellow
Oh,
cards,
dude.
go around like embellishing and dive around everywhere.
They offered nothing.
It's not the same level.
Yeah.
I thought the Leipzig centre back is the best defensive display. Upamecano,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what a player! I'll be surprised if a huge team doesn't pick him up because, damn, that guy can play football.
He's getting picked up. They put a release clause in his contract that he signed, so it's like a $40 million release clause. So he's getting picked up next year.
Yeah, Munich should pick him up. I thought he was outstanding, and he won the man of the match, rightfully so, because he bullied Diego Costa, and Diego Costa is a bully himself. He bullied the bully, and then when what's his face, Alvaro Morata, another overrated striker, came on, he bullied him even worse.
Yeah.
They didn't. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was the player of this quarterfinal, in my opinion, defensively.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I love to see it. I love to see a team come and beat a group of guys that don't deserve to be there, in my opinion.
Without Timo Werner.
Timo,
Yeah, without Timo Werner,
without Timo. So fair play to him. And you could see actually as well, to your point, Josh, that they were missing that striker. They were missing Timo. Still beat Atletico, a team that just sit back and just play awful, terrible football that don't deserve to be in any league. Can't stand. Never liked him. Never will.
So the good thing, I think the reason why I like the game is because it was a true testament of a managerial style. You have Diego Simeone, who is known for his, who's known for his defensive team, I should say. Like they're so compact. Their midfield does the work. They're kind of like a well-oiled machine that they just make sure to get the job done. And Nagelsmann, I thought his game plan was just amazing. Going in there, the reason I enjoyed the game is there was a tactical battle happening between the two managers, and Nagelsmann just managed to outdo him. Those little short passes, like pass and move, I mean, that's just beautiful. Like I am, I didn't watch Leipzig too much before this game, but man, I'm amazed. I know why he's in such a high demand, and I think he's going to be a great manager to watch for in the next few years.
Yeah, man. They did the exact same thing to Spurs. When Spurs played them, Spurs couldn't get near them because pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. If Spurs got the ball, they were attacking the ball. They weren't attacking the players. And I thought, rightfully so, they deserved to win. If they could tighten up some of those loose, sloppy passes, Leipzig, they'd be a team to beat. They really would. I think Sabitzer had a great game. I think Yao Felix came on, who kind of changed the game for a minute there for Atletico.
He's so good.
But
Yeah, he got the penalty.
But then he did nothing. So, like, are you really that good? Are you worth 150 million?
I think he
He came on and he completely changed the game.
Yeah.
He's only 21, 22?
No,
I don't think-
he's 19.
Yeah, he's 19.
Yeah.
He needs
That
to
was
be.
why he was so expensive.
He needs to be elsewhere. He can't play for that
Yes.
team.
He's being wasted there.
Yeah,
Being
I agree with that.
Like they're asking him to defend way too much and play it safe way too much. That's not how Felix plays. Felix is like Ronaldo and Messi. He likes to get. And I thought he was fantastic when he came on. Easily their best player, but he was on for 5 minutes, and then this is why I speak so highly of Upamecano, because he worked him out in 5 minutes. He worked out his runs. He'd just track him, and he did nothing for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He won the penalty a minute after he came on. And then I really hold defenders like that in high regard that will change their game to adapt to another player. Not many can do it. And I really hope Leipzig come and beat PSG as well. I'd love to see a Leipzig make it the whole way, because I love that underdog story.
I do too. And I hope Lyon beats Bayern.
Yeah, me too.
That would be, oh my goodness, that would be.
Is that even physically possible though?
Dude, last week I was saying like Lyon have no chance. I love the fact that they're trying, but they have no chance. And then they come and produce a performance like that. Like, sure, they didn't play the prettiest game, but they just hit him on the counter. And as Brato said,
they had some really good tactical ideas where they were kind of short up front, and instead of playing Memphis Depay and Dembele together, which is their most prominent attack, they actually kind of alternated. You know, they had Dembele coming off the bench, and where he's fresh and he can really go at the center backs, and obviously that made the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Who do you guys think is going to win? What is your prediction for the semis?
So what we got?
buddy.
We've got PSG, Leipzig, and Munich, Lyon. So Brato, why don't you start?
All right, I'll start. I think PSG is going to win. I don't want them to, but I think the main point that we discussed earlier is Mbappe and Neymar. They're just such a huge attacking threat that as long as that defense can make sure that Leipzig doesn't score, more than a couple goals, I think PSG is going to win. And as much as I hate to admit it, Bayern, they're the best team. In my opinion, I think they're the best team left in the competition, and they'll easily.
Yeah.
But then I said the same thing about City, and they, I said City, Lyon 4-0, and I was wrong. Let's hope I'm wrong about this too, because I haven't had too much luck. Josh, what are your predictions?
Oh, you're gonna let me predict? Thanks, guys.
Sure, man.
I would say for Bayern Lyon, I think the train's just gonna keep going. I think it'll be like 4-0 Bayern.
And what about PSG?
That one I think is going to be like a 3-1 PSG. I think that with Mbappe fully fit, Neymar is he'll convert at least one of those chances. He's probably been practicing nothing but finishing all week. So I think it'll be like Neymar will get like one in the first, maybe then a penalty, and then Mbappe will get something or a card. I mean, they're just so dynamic up front. But kind of the testament to what you're saying with Leipzig is I think they'll get one. They might even get the first one.
Yeah, I agree, man. What about you, Steve?
So I think that Bayern will have a tough time with Lyon, just from the way Lyon played against City. I mean, you get towards the end, they were kind of, before they made their subs, they were starting to kind of fail in pressing. But I think with the way Lyon press and with the way they played defense, I mean, what's the guy's name? Aouar. He was reading almost every single pass that the midfielder
He was a good player. Really
like, it was like City was playing in slow motion. He was like, yeah, I know you're going to pass that. I'm just going to wait until you pass it. Okay, yeah, thanks for the ball. That's what it looked like with Aouar. Like, so I think with, the way Aouar played, with the way they were very strong defensively, and the way they broke, they're going to give Bayern a hard time. But I just don't think they have enough speed or enough attackers to just trouble that high line. So I still think Bayern wins, but I don't think it's going to be easy for them. Like, Bayern's going to score. Like, just they keep on working the ball until they get the ball in the net. Just it gets in there. It's going to get in there. Like, you can't stop it. So I think it'll be maybe 3-1 Bayern. And then, so for PSG Leipzig, I think that Leipzig wins. So the reason why I say that is because because of Nagelsmann, right? So he's a great tactician, and so he's not going to play the same way he played against Atletico Madrid, the way he's going to play against PSG. He's going to realize he's going to take into account Neymar and Mbappe, so he has speed coming against him, and how PSG is going to be playing. So I think that he readjusts his the way the team plays. I'm pretty sure they played 3 in the back too against Atletico Madrid. So they're set up defensively a little bit better to deal with speed on the wings. So that's gonna help out with nullifying Mbappe, even though he has speed and skill on that side. But I still think Leipzig wins that game. Also, Keylor Navas is out, so I don't know who's starting for PSG.
Oh, is he out?
I think he's still out. I know they said he was injured. I don't think he's going to be able to make the
Nice.
Yeah. So and I completely I forgot about Keylor Navas until I was watching the Atalanta game. I was like, oh yeah, Keylor Navas. Like people have forgotten about it. Or at least I have, and he's an amazing keeper. I still feel bad for him being pushed out of Real Madrid. But I think if Navas, I haven't checked recently, but if Navas is still out, that is a huge factor. That dude is an amazing keeper. He had some amazing saves against Atalanta. So I think if he's out, Leipzig have an even better chance of beating PSG. So I think Leipzig wins that game.
I agree, Steve-O. I think Leipzig will win because if Verratti's not playing, I just checked, Verratti's out, and Verratti is really their CDM Kante kind of player that holds it together. I thought PSG's defense and midfield were awful the other day. I thought they were out of position almost all the time, and playing against a team that are more dynamic than Atlanta, as you said, their manager is awesome. I think Leipzig get the win. I don't want to say a score because I think PSG will score. Yeah. But again, if Upamecano has a game like he did the other day, it's going to be tough for him. They're not a team that's going to be bullied around. They're not a team that they play very nice to watch football.
Yeah.
So I think Leipzig will win. And then, of course, I think Bayern will win. As Josh said, I don't think there's any stopping this train now. Their morale is all sky high. They've just beaten a Barcelona team. That's the worst scoreline that Barcelona have faced since 1946 or something like that.
Yeah, in the 40s. Yeah.
So,
wow.
I can come back and bite them, right? Because you just beat Barcelona 8-2. You're playing Lyon. You might have the same kind of mentality that City had, where you might take them for granted.
I don't think there's any egos in that Bayern Munich team.
I don't think so either.
There's huge egos.
I think they're so well managed that they just keep it full steam ahead. He keeps them focused. In the Barcelona game, actually, right after we scored that goal, the one thing Suarez does well, right there in that game, you could actually tell on the sideline he was getting pretty pissed off that they were kind of taking it easy up 4-1, and then
he bought Boateng.
Yeah.
Because Suarez beat Boateng. He bought Boateng straight off, put Sula on. So he responds to things like that. And that's important because Pep didn't. And, I'm sure we'll chat another time about, is Pep really the best in the world? But I just think Bayern have got too much for Lyon. And I'd love Lyon I'd love the underdog story, but I just don't think this time. I don't think they've got it this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Well, moving on to Europa League. The scoreline today was 5-0. Inter Milan is in the final. It's a pretty big scoreline. The game was close. I had fairly close up to 65th, 70th minute, and then Inter Milan just took off. Obviously, Lukaku scored. That hurts my soul, as I'm sure it hurts yours, Steve-O.
Yep.
He's on fire at the moment.
He is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He scored in like 9 straight Europa League games or something of the sort.
Yeah.
He's built for Italian football.
Yeah, good goals too. Yeah, he is. So the other team that's going into Europa League, as I'm sure you know, is not Manchester United.
Oh, yeah. Come on, rub it in.
So Sevilla made it through. United, they beat United 2-1. What are your thoughts, Steve-O? I know United is your team. I want to hear your feedback about it.
So, all right, I'll probably go past like the game is why I'm going to. So I think that with Ollie as our coach, we don't win anything in Europe. Now, I'm not saying I don't want him at Man United. I want Ollie as the coach at Man United because he is Man United through and through. He's played there under he's played there under Ferguson. He wants to play Man United football, not bring his own style in and play a different style. And that's what we're starting to do right now. So I really want him as the coach. But I think at this point in time, he does not have enough managerial experience to win us a trophy in Europe. Just watching the game, I didn't even bother watching the second half. Watching the first half, I watched the way we were playing, and Sevilla was outplaying us. And it was just – and he wasn't making any just changes to counteract that at all. So – and just looking at that, it's just – I don't know, like I'm not necessarily mad. In a way, I was kind of expecting it just from watching the game. So, I mean, of course, it's disappointing to not be in the final, not to win any like silver at all this year. But I think Ollie needs to grow as a coach in order for us to win in Europe. He
What
gives
does
us a
that
chance.
entail, though? Because I mean, we touched earlier on about how Pep kind of likes to tinker on these big important games, and
Yeah,
he brought like back three. He started the game with back three, and they will only play that twice throughout the entire season. OGS though has been playing the same freaking lineup since the restart. Like the only difference he has made is switch Nemanja Matic with Fred.
yeah.
That's it. Like, what does that entail growing up as a manager? Does that mean playing different? I mean, because I think he's a one-trick pony.
So I think one part of it is that he does not trust the subs at all, because I know he left the subs till late. I was looking at the subs and they were like way later in the game. So he does not trust the subs to come on and make a difference, which that speaks volumes of as a coach to your players. Like, hey, I know you're there on the bench, but I don't want to bring you on because like, what's the point? So that says a lot about the bench and like how much you trust the players, but also it's just easy, but it also shows that he can't really make changes in game. Like, okay, can he make changes in game to say, okay, this is where we're being deficient, do this instead? I mean, I'm not really seeing that at all. And also, like you said, it's okay, we've played maybe two formations, like 3-4-1-2, and then 4-2-3-1. Those are the only two formations that we played. Granted, if you're winning with something, I don't see the point of changing it. But if it's not working, you should change it in game or just to the team that you're playing to get a result. And he really hasn't done that. We either start off well and then continue on to win the game. I don't think we came back to win a lot of games this season, maybe one or two. But if we're going down first, we weren't coming back to win. There's only a couple games I can think of where we came back to maybe tie the game, but there were not maybe one or two where we came back to win the game. And that shows that he's not making the appropriate changes to get us back in the game to win the game.
Yeah, he's not reactive enough, I don't think. I think he has a starting 11 and he's scared to venture from that. Here's what I would do if I was David Gill or the owner of Man United or whatever his name is, Woodward, I would get Pochettino in, because Pochettino took a Tottenham side with no financial backing
at all.
Second in the league. Yeah, nothing. Literally nothing. Man United would bring Pochettino in. Pochettino would change their football, because I think it probably needs to be changed. I think they need a more tactical manager. And that's exactly what Pochettino will bring. Pochettino will also make the right transfers. He'll make the right calls for the Man United team. He won't bring in players just for their name.
We're not doing that anymore. That will say that we were doing that. Like, I can't deny that, but we've kind of stepped away from that. Thank God, because bringing in Sanchez and Ibrahimovic and Schweinsteiger and all those, that was.
I just think Pochettino would do really well.
In this case, I think actually not being in Champions League has helped Man United, because some of those bigger names that may have ended up being a bust didn't go to United because they don't have that sexy allure of Champions League. But now, if they can, play their cards right, they have a lot going for them. They have, they're one of the biggest, richest clubs in the entire world. Now they have Champions League football. They've got some good young players. I mean, you already saw with Pogba right away. He was kind of 1 foot out the door. Then he sees how Bruno Fernandes is going, and he's like, "Hey, I want to be part of that." I mean, there's going to be other guys that are going to want that same type of thing.
That's true. That's true. I think, yeah, we definitely had horrible just transfer tactics for a few years there, starting with David Moyes and bringing the tree Fellaini. That was it was just all downhill from there. Just
Saying that though, I do think it's a shame that United couldn't complete that Sancho signing, because I'd love to see him back in the Prem, and I think he'd do really well at Man United. I mean, kind of biting my own tongue there, because that would scare me if Sancho played in the United team against Tottenham. But I would like to see something a little bit different. I think Ollie's done really well. I just think he might need a couple more years to
yeah.
learn the tactical side of the game. And I think he'll get there. So it's either give him the time and just know that you might not finish top of the league, but you might in a couple of years. Because, today or yesterday, the Sevilla game, it was 53% possession to Sevilla. So back in the day, United were dominating teams in the Roy Keane, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs days. And I just think they need to find that captain. Like, I don't think there's ever been a better captain in history than Roy Keane. And we've spoken about Roy Keane. I think he drove that Man United team forward. If he could find a signing like that may not be the best footballer, but as a captain is amazing, I think it could be the next kind of big step for United. And I know
I think with OGS, I had the same problem as I do with Lampard. And that is, sure, they need to be given a time, but OGS has already had, 2 years, 3 years?
Wait,
It must
Man
be.
United? No,
Yeah.
not 3.
So definitely 2 years then.
Okay, he came in mid-season
In
to
like
replace.
a year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half. He came mid-season to replace Mourinho.
And, as much as he may need time to develop tactically, with the team of United's caliber, do you want United to be his guinea pig? I think, and that's something that United fans need to decide. And the other aspect of it is that I think he's going to get figured out. And I think that happens a lot with a lot of these coaches, is they get figured out and they can't beat the teams that are 17, 18, 19 on the table. So, I hope he stays, because I don't want United to succeed. But I don't see success under him as a manager.
So I think that he has the English Premier League figured out. So if you look at us, so our record against the top 6 was pretty much impeccable. We weren't perfect against the top 6, but we played really damn well against the top 6 because we took points more than not. So if you look at our record, I think we had the second or third least amount of losses or something like that. But the reason why we end up in third is because the amount of draws we had. So we were drawing, like you said, lower level teams, and then not winning games that we should win. What I'm talking about. And that was when we didn't have a playmaker, and then we get a playmaker, then we start just thrashing teams. So I think I would say see how he does this season with Bruno Fernandes and Mason Greenwood absolutely just coming through. And then if it's still the same result, then it's like, okay, all right, yeah, you've probably reached your ceiling of where you are right now, and we need to look at somebody else. But let's see what you can do with the full season. Granted, we're not getting the preseason that we want, but let's see what you can do with an actual creative midfielder on the field. Maybe not the best bench, but the creative midfielder on the field for the whole season. And Mason Greenwood should be providing a lot of goals from the right. And then if we're still in the same position, just losing games that we shouldn't be losing, and then still in third or fourth, which, well, I want to say third or fourth would be a failure, but I want to see how he does with an actual creative midfielder and on the field. I want to see how he does with that, then look to make a decision from there.
That's a fair point. All right, we're nearing the end, so we should probably do our 2 segments of trash talk. Tom, you want to lead us off?
Yeah. I mean, my trash talk just after the Champions League and looking at the La Liga teams, I just want to say I've got 3 people to trash talk.
Oh, wow.
But it's basically La Liga, right? It's Arturo Vidal, I don't even know his first, Jimenez from Atletico Madrid, and Jordi Alba. Because everything that didn't get... Jordi Alba, first of all, threw the ball at the ref.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, he's 31 years old. grow up. You're losing to a much better team. And the guy was fouled, quite clearly fouled, by like very obvious foul. He would have known that he stamped on his foot. And Jimenez was getting in the ref's face, like wagging his finger in the face. And Vidal was doing the same thing at the end there. It's just, I really hate to see that. And I hate the fact that they dive every chance they get.
Oh my goodness.
And they roll around like they've been shot. And I just hate that. And I'm really glad Atletico got beat. I can't stand that team.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it either. It's just like, it's almost like when you're playing, when you're playing pickup soccer, when you're playing, off the wall or whatever, and you play those teams that just moan and whine about any little touch or just like fall over like when the wind blows. It just takes the fun out of it when you're playing and when you're watching too.
Yeah. I think it's because that's all they can do. Like, they have to get that foul just to be able to advance the ball to even that point. Like, they're bringing in all these premier guys, quote unquote. João Felix is going to be a stellar player, but like, Morata and Costa, they're not the answer, and that's as good as they can get. And they have to do those fouls and those dives just to advance the ball, from what I've seen with my experience with dealing with Letty.
Yeah, and like, I'll give them the fact that they defend well and they all defend as a unit and stuff, but you got to score goals. And João Felix, great player.
Oh, yeah.
Really think he's a great player. Nothing compared to Kylian Mbappe, but great player. And at a similar age, kid's got nothing on Mbappe. He doesn't change games the way Mbappe does. He doesn't go and lead his team to a World Cup win like Mbappe did. But again, he was going down really easily as well. And come on, like at some point, at least try and play a game fairly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've noticed it with Barcelona as well. With the exception, I must say, of Messi.
Yes.
Messi stands on his feet until he literally gets shoved over, or there's three guys around him, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going
Napoli
anywhere."
goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like fair play to Messi, and that's why I rate him so highly. But the rest of them, and De Jong doesn't go down very easily. Very gifted player on the ball, but the rest of them are just shocking.
It's funny you mentioned those two, because they said that there was a report anyway, kind of what you were talking about earlier about how everyone's on the chopping block. They said everybody except Messi, De Jong, Langley, and Andre Ter Stegen are up for sale.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody calls, they're gonna answer.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I think they should. And I just think it's La Liga football isn't as dominating as it once was, and they've got to look at themselves in the mirror and make some changes, because they're being bullied by these teams coming in. Yeah, 2 years ago, Leipzig versus Atletico Madrid, there's no competition there. But
Yeah.
has Spanish football really evolved? No, it hasn't. And that's part of the issue. And Diego Simeone does not. He's a decent manager, but you know what to expect when you play against a Diego Simeone team. And that's that they're going to sit back. And I hate the fact they get in the referee's face.
Yeah.
I just at least respect the referee. If you don't agree with a decision, I know you're in the moment and you're heated, but just take a step back and realize what you're doing, and you're making yourself look like a prick in front of millions of people. And not only that, you're making yourself look like a sore loser. Who wants a sore loser on their team? No one. So
Yeah.
that's mine. What about Josh? Let's go to you, man.
Yeah.
Mine is the Barcelona board, mainly Joseph Bartomeu.
Yes.
I think his first red flag is that his middle name is Maria, and he just doesn't have a spine. The main thing is just some of the big mistakes, just mistake after mistake. And the glaring number is that in 6 years of transfers, he's spent over 1.1 billion euros.
What?
And it's the most expensive squad probably in history. The wage bill is the highest in the world. Mistake after mistake. And then, like, to age out these players, you have to have a backbone to be able to do it. And I know it's it's hard, but at the same time, you sent Xavi away, you sent Iniesta away, Victor Valdez, you sent him away. Like, you sent away some of these main guys, but you're gonna let Jordi Alba stay? You're gonna let Rakitic stay? You're gonna do all this stuff, and Messi and Suarez, that's a big issue, and maybe that changes because Ajax are in the running for Suarez. They really want him for some of their plans.
Yeah.
So there's part of that, but going back to this, man, like, Bartomeu has basically blamed everybody except himself. He put all this fault on Valverde. He put all this fault on Eric Albiol with all his decisions. But I'm pretty confident that he's pulling a lot of the strings and he doesn't want to do any of this. One thing that also happened was that he spent 1 million euros from La Masia's budget to a social media third party to bash his own players and through the media.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's mentally crazy.
Literally mental. Like, he's just doing everything wrong, blaming nobody but himself. But I'm an eternal optimist, so I kind of see that his term is coming to an end. They actually announced that they're going to do elections in March. So there's going to be some new people, and basically kind of what they're looking at is Xavi to be the main coach. Each team that's trying to go for the presidency and the board, they want Xavi as the main guy because kind of what Brazzo was saying about Lampard, like not having those tactical experiences. Xavi's getting that right now. He's winning trophies with Qatar. And so he's gaining that experience. And one thing that you were talking about with the tiki-taka and everything like that is Xavi is an absolute disciple of that. You did it for 20 years. And during the Champions League final, I'll just tell a quick little story. The Champions League final, Luis Enrique against Juventus, he was like, guys, what's the worst thing that can happen? And he ended up saying, well, the worst thing that could happen is you're Juventus and you're playing up against Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, blah, blah, blah. But Xavi answered and said, the worst thing that could happen to us is that we abandon our style. And essentially, through all of that, like, he knows what it takes. It's going to be a good long-term thing. It's just right now we have to get out of this and we have to make the right decisions for the club. So my trash talk is Valverde, who needs to lose his job immediately.
Yeah.
Nice one, man. Steve-O.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same boat with you with Atletico Madrid. I think Diego Simeone has everybody conned into believing that Atletico Madrid is the underdog. When you have players like Diego Costa, who I hate, but actually I don't hate him, I just can't stand him. But Diego Costa is a good striker. He was good at Chelsea. Alvaro Morata, I think he had something that he didn't cut it at Chelsea either, but Morata was a good player. Then you have Joao Felix. Look at that front three. But yeah, you're playing a 4-4-2, which all you do is just sit compact and then try to break. I mean, you're starting Yannick Carrasco over Morata and Joao Felix. So just he has everybody conned into thinking Atletico Madrid is this underdog. Granted, you don't have the budget of Barcelona or Real Madrid. I agree with him there. But I think he just, for being supposed to be a great tactician or whatever, he just has everybody conned into thinking, oh, we have to play this type of football in order for us to win. But you really don't, because look at the money you spend. Look at the players that you have. You just built this personality for your team, and you don't know how to win outside of that personality. The only way you know how to win is by playing unbelievably defensively and then trying to get players sent off so you have an advantage with the ref. That's the tactic. The tactic is to play defensively and then get the ref on your side. So if you get fouled, you immediately get free kicks, and then people are afraid to touch your players so you can just run freely through. That is his tactic. And that is I hate it so much. I know they win with it, but it's like, okay, you're choosing winning over having dignity. That's the way I see it. You're not winning with dignity, honestly. And it's just so frustrating to watch. You want to watch good football. It's Champions League, man. I want to watch great football. I don't want to watch this BS of people rolling around like they've been shot. Who wants to watch that? That's Champions League is supposed to be the pinnacle of European football. And I'm watching people just getting blown over by the breeze and just looking like they had their legs snapped off when somebody touched them. That's not what I want to watch. That's not what people want to see. And then you got outsmarted, out tactician by Julian Nagelsmann, who was it's like his second or third season, like super young coach, and with Leipzig, who's not even in the top of the Bundesliga. You got outclassed by him. He just outshone you on the big stage. Like, you're trash. And seriously, Felix needs to move somewhere else. I think that if Felix was playing at a team that played attacking football, people would be putting him in the same sentence as Mbappe. I don't think he's as good, but if he was playing in a team that didn't play defensively, like Atletico Madrid, he would be able to express himself way more, and he would be growing as a player. He'd be growing as a player, not as an attacking player, but he's not doing that at Atletico Madrid. And because of that, nobody's talking about him. They talked about his transfer fee, and then I forgot he was on Atletico Madrid. Honestly, I forgot because you don't hear about him doing anything.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah, I forgot about him. So he needs to move somewhere else, honestly, because, yeah.
I will say about the whole diving aspect, while I do hate it, it can be a very good tactical thing to do. I mean, Man City versus Lyon is a prime example. Lyon players were going down, and I mean, and Man City players were so frustrated, especially losing, and they were trying to catch up, that it just made them make more mistakes, and it's just eating away at that clock. So there is some tactical aspects to it, but doing it from first minute is not the thing. It's like the way I see it is doing a long throw-in, like waiting 5 minutes to do a throw-in at the first minute. That's just ridiculous.
Who's your trash talk, Brato?
My trash talk obviously is going to be OGS.
Oh man!
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
It has to be done. He was our last hope for an English team to make it to a final. He had a chance to make it to the final, and he dropped the ball. Why did he drop the ball, Steve-O? Because he played the same thing that he has done since February. Since the restart. He's been doing the same thing since the restart. And it's absolutely mind-boggling because teams are going to catch on to it. He doesn't know how to change the game on the fly. He doesn't know how to rotate the team properly. His rotation is just taking one player off, another one on. Yeah. Why would you take Sergio Romero off? Why? He was your keeper the entire competition. He got scored on twice. Play him, man. He deserves it. It's absolutely mind-boggling. He played the same lineup that he did in Premier League, and teams know how to beat it by now. You have great talent in Mason. You have great talent in Rashford, who I absolutely love. The fact that Rashford plays for United hurts my soul. He needs to play for a better team. He needs to go elsewhere because I think he's a world-class talent, and I think he could be in the same conversation as Neymar and Mbappe if he had the right coach to push him forward. And unfortunately, Mourinho wasn't the right coach, and I don't think OGS is the right coach for him either. It's a shame. I was kind of secretly hoping United would win just because.
Oh man! Wow.
I wanted English football represented, and it's not. At this point, we're nothing more than a farmers' league. You know what I mean?
No.
No,
I don't think we're farmers.
Don't. Okay, good. I was about to say, don't get me started, man.
Farmers League, but you know what? It does not look good. Last season, we had 2 English teams in that final. And this season, we don't even have one make it to semifinal. And I think it just shows that this season for English teams has not been particularly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also an argument there. There's 2 French teams in the final and also Bundesliga teams. Bundesliga came back but finished way earlier than the Prem. And Liga didn't even come back. So there's an argument there that it's because they have fresh legs, but also there's a counter argument saying that they haven't had any, good football. But what about let's keep with Brato. I mean, I'm intrigued to see his heat guard. What about your whole lot of love?
Whole lot of love. It's something that we've been trashing since we started our podcast, and it's the VAR usage in Europa League.
So good. Good.
That's what I mean. That's the way the VAR should be done. A referee, he makes a mistake. He goes and checks it on the screen. The clock is stopped for 45 seconds. You know what? It's fine. Just add it on as an injury time anyway. You're going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see that than the BS calls like we've seen in the freaking quarterfinals with Lyon and Juventus. And,
Oh,
it was
Definitely.
So bad.
a nice change of
So
pace.
bad.
A whole lot of love to that Europa League. You know, they did a great job using that tool the way it's
yeah.
meant
They're
to
sure
be.
not supposed to be done.
Yeah. Tom, let's go to you.
My whole lot of love is Thomas Muller,
Oh,
because he's been involved in two of the biggest upsets in football history. He's been the man of the match for both teams. He led Germany to beat Brazil 7-1 in the World Cup.
In Brazil.
In Brazil,
yeah, in Brazil.
he then does the same thing, not only against Tottenham, not only against Chelsea, but Barcelona in one game to score 8 goals. And he was at the head of every attack. He was the man filling the space. He very unselfish player, but he also, I don't think I've ever, as I think it was Brato said earlier, I don't think I've ever seen a player that can read the game like him and move into the right space in the right time. He's an absolute master at it, and he should be up there as highly as we're speaking about Kevin De Bruyne. One of the best center attacking mids in the world. His spatial awareness is second to none, and he helped smash Barcelona, which who would have thought that last week? In all honesty, we all thought it was going to be a close game. But yeah, a whole lot of love to Thomas Muller. I think he's hugely underrated.
yeah.
Is it just me or does he look like he's 45 years old, but he's looked like that for 10 years?
Yeah, he looks like he smokes 20 cigarettes a day and
yeah.
goes and has a pint at the end of work, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
What about you,
Let's go
Stephen?
to you.
Oh, it's Josh, yeah.
Mine, I would a whole lot of love for me to PSG actually. I think that they like to overcome that 1-0. I know it's just one goal, but you knew that the writing was on the wall. Everyone thought they were going to lose. Everyone's talking about this curse. The commentators were saying every year, each result from Champions League, just everyone expected them to lose. You know, Neymar's missing chance after chance. It just doesn't look like it's going to be their day. And then it was actually a mishit by Neymar for Marquinhos to score that first goal. And then just the floodgates open and they kind of mentally showed that they could do it, which compared to the other major teams that couldn't get it out of that stage, you know, that's big kudos to them.
It's true, man. I agree.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
People, let's end it with the best, but not the least.
All right. So my whole lot of love is for Dayo Upamecano. So
Yes.
I mean, dude, he showed. So earlier in the transfer window, there were a lot of teams that were linked to him. I don't know if you guys remember that at all. There were a whole bunch of teams linked to him, but he's like, nah, I'm at Leipzig. I'm gonna play here. And then, so first, I respect for that because he's just like, yeah, I'm playing Champions League right now. Don't even talk to me. Like, hold the phone.
Yep.
Like, get out of my face. So, and he's very young. Like, he's not even. I don't think he even think he's 21 or anything like that at all. So first off, he's super young. He's a defender, which makes me like him even more because I mean, I value defenders way over like strikers, but it's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
but
21 years old.
21 years old, right?
21
So,
years old.
the guy he reads the game unbelievably well from the back. I don't remember him really making any mistakes. He would carry the ball at the right time, he'd carry the ball up the field and get the ball to the wing, carry the ball up, pass it out, distribute really well, not get dispossessed. When they were attacking, he was in the right spot at the right time. Like you said, Tom, he adjusted to Joao Felix properly. He read the runs. And then he had the one where, I forget which Atletico Madrid player it was, where the guy's in the box. He runs up to him, stops in a dime. The guy dives, and he's like, what are you doing on the floor, man? And the guy gets booked for oh, my goodness. I was just dying laughing. I was like, he just read you like a book. He's like, oh, I know what you're going to do, man. You can't trick me. And it's just like, dude, that is absolutely perfect defending. You know exactly what the striker is going to do. And you're so confident to do that in your box. Because if you mess up in the box, like that's it. Like, that confidence to know, like, you know what? I'm going to let you go through because I know you're going to dive. Oh, you dove? Huh.
Big time composure.
Yeah.
What a surprise! I knew what you were gonna do. Like you just played him.
I just pulled him up on Google as well, and after that performance, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Man City, Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester United are all in for him.
Dude, of course. Why would you not be? Are you kidding me?
World class.
I
World
do have a
class.
question for you then.
Okay.
Harry Maguire is worth 80 million. How much do you think he's worth?
He's priceless, mate.
Yeah.
140.
Oh my goodness. Well, his release cost is 40 million, so that's how much he's worth.
Man United is willing to pay 80 million for Maguire. I think they're going to pay for him.
So I think we would play his release clause. So okay, all right. Harry Maguire is only 80 million because Leicester didn't need to sell. He's English, and we need a top center back. That's why we paid 80 million. But
And the market was messed up then.
You said what?
The market was like really like inflated.
Yeah,
it's all
because
over
Van
the
Dijk,
place, yeah.
Van Dijk had just gone for 75. But if we're just gonna act like that doesn't exist, and we're just gonna use Harry Maguire as evaluation, I would say 60 million, but only because he's younger and not proven in the Premier League. That because of that. I think it would obviously. I think that if Upamecano came to Premier League, he would definitely be better than. Well, I don't know. I can't say he'll be better than any defender, but I think he has the potential to do that. I don't see why he wouldn't. But because he's 21, then you can't pay. I would say his like valuation has to be capped at a certain amount because of his age. But I think if he stays at Leipzig, if he goes to any of the big teams, dude's gonna kill it. I don't see how he doesn't kill it at any team that he goes to.
Yeah, he's
amazing.
He's the best defender I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Not just for defending, his spatial awareness, as you said, his composure in the box against Yao Felix, very tricky player to play against. Just completely marshaled him to the side, played him out to the wing. They had nothing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does the exact same thing to who plays up front for PSG? Icardi.
Yeah, Cardi.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens to Icardi. So, I'm glad you chose him, man. He was on my list as well.
Oh, nice.
Good one. Well, that's it for this podcast. Give us a listen on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and we'll get back to you next week.